Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing my weekly check-in for the third week of January. So for the third week of January, I'm going to be checking in from January 11th through January 17th. So let's get started with the 11th. Also for this weekly check-in, I do have a lot of unbudgeted expenses again, just kind of like the first week of January where I had a lot or most of my expenses were unbudgeted. Kind of the same thing with this week. So starting off with the 11th, I spent $23 out of my groceries envelope. Well, I spent a total of 24. 23 came out of my groceries and 1 came out of spending, and that was to get some pho. So $1 came out of spending and then 23 out of groceries. And then I also spent $30 at Costco, and that was unbudgeted. So 30 at Costco, and that is all for the 11th. And then on the 12th, I spent $18 at a restaurant that me and my friend went. I got some shrimp tacos or fish tacos, one of the two, I can't remember anymore. And that came out to $18, and that was an unbudgeted expense, and that was on the 12th. And then that is all for the 12th. On the 13th, I spent $15 out of my miscellaneous envelope at a coffee shop that I went to with my friend. So the drinks came out to $15. And then also on the 13th, I spent $24 to park for the coffee shop. We didn't realize they were going to charge us that much. So we ended up spending $24 just for parking. And that was on the 13th, and that was an unbudgeted expense. And it wasn't $24 for both. It was $24 for each of our cars. So that was just way too expensive for going to a coffee shop. But it's because it was downtown, and we didn't really pay attention to, like, how much it was per hour or whatever. So next time we know to just not go to a parking garage. But yeah, we spent $24 there. Next, on the 14th, I spent $41 on TikTok. Something I bought on TikTok. I just can't remember at the moment what that was. But that was $41. I think it was some lip products, like some kind of lip stains that I got. I don't remember the name of them, but I think that's what it was. But it was $41. And then on the 14th, I also spent $16 at this hand roll restaurant that I really wanted to try. Me and my friend went, and it was alright. I don't think I would go again because it was kind of expensive. But yeah, I spent $60 there. Next, on the 14th, I spent $49 at Costco for gas, and that was unbudgeted. And that was the 14th as well. And then that is all for the 14th. On the 15th, I spent $6 out of my spending at McDonald's, and then 2 came out of unbudgeted, so it was a total of $8. So 2 out of spending, and then 2 out of unbudgeted, for a total of $8. And then that is all for the 15th. On the 16th, I spent $25 at Arby's, and that was unbudgeted. Me and my friend went to Arby's before we went to watch a movie, and that was also my last day of work at the job that I left. That was $25, and that was unbudgeted. And that was all for the 16th. On the 17th, I spent $12 at Jollibee, and that also was unbudgeted, and that was on the 17th. And I'm just going to put it right here on the side. So 117. Okay, so let's get started with the check-in. So I spent $7 out of my spending envelope. And then I didn't spend anything out of gas, so I'm gonna fill that one in really quick too. So let me just write what I started off with. So gas started off with 0, groceries with 23, restaurants with 0, spending with 7, miscellaneous with 15, and then fun with 0. No, nothing for unbudgeted. So for spending, I spent $7, so I should have 0 remaining. And then gas 0, remaining 0. So let's see, for groceries, I spent $23, and that was all. So groceries spent 23, 0 remaining. And then restaurants, I'm pretty sure it was 0. And then miscellaneous, I spent, let's see, 15 out of miscellaneous. So miscellaneous spent 15, 0 remaining, fun 0, and 0. And then let's see, for unbudgeted. Okay, so for unbudgeted, I spent 30 at Costco, 30 at Costco, 18, 24, 49, 60, 41, 2, 25, and 12. So that is a total of $261 that were unbudgeted. And I'm just going to write that here, and you'll definitely see it reflected on my Chase credit card, how much I have overspent. And then I'm just going to draw a line here. And that is all for my weekly check-in for the 3rd week of January. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please comment, like, and subscribe, and thank you guys so much for watching.